I'm Hannah Mordeau. An IMPD officer is sharing his journey. Now on Daybreak, what Officer Tommy Mangan is saying about his recovery as he speaks out for the first time since he was shot in the throat.
I'm Scott Sander. A college campus in Indiana is in mourning after 3 students are killed in a crash. Ahead, what Indiana State University and a high school in Ohio are saying about the tragedy.
And we're also tracking out a nice start to the work week. A lot of sunshine. How long will this trend last? We'll show you in the forecast coming up.
And crowning the king of hair. See the boy going viral for his unique hairstyle. August 22nd.
You're watching Wish TV, your local news source, with Scott Sander, Kylie Conway, Drew Blair, and meteorologist Marcus Bailey and Stephanie Meade. Now, News 8 Daybreak continues.
Good Monday morning, 9 a.m. sharp. Thanks for starting your day and week with us.
Yeah, let's look ahead to the day and the week weather-wise.
Yeah, it's starting off kind of gray and foggy right now. Eventually, we'll start to see better conditions as we head through the afternoon. Very comfortable, too. We're in the low to mid-60s right now. Cloudy skies down at the airport, just some low-lying clouds in our fog situation. Started off a little thick in spots right now, condensing a little more. We showed you this picture probably about 10 to 15 minutes ago, and it was extending a little further west. Right now, that's starting to break apart. Here in the city, low-lying clouds still in play alongside east, northeast, and southeast. So just be aware of changing visibilities if you are heading out of the Indianapolis area. A lot of the county roadways might be a tad foggy, too. So just be aware of that. Nothing thick enough to warrant a dense fog advisory, but very patchy in nature, too. So just be aware of that if your travel plans take you out and about this morning. Otherwise, temperatures are in the middle 60s right now. 66 in Indianapolis, 67 Lafayette, 64 in Kokomo, mid-60s in Bloomington right now, too, at about 65 degrees. We're dry, we're quiet, not seeing much here statewide. We have an area of low pressure. With that, we have a stationary front that is slowly making its way towards the south and east. Area of high pressure will dominate our scene later on today. That's going to help clear out a lot of the low-lying clouds and the fog that we're seeing right now. So I think as we get deeper into your afternoon, we'll peel that away. We should see more sunshine through around 4 or 5 o'clock. Dry conditions through this afternoon, too, so kind of a nice way to start off our Monday here. 80 degrees by 3. We'll see a partly cloudy sky. Temperatures by 5 should be in the lower 80s. Humidity tracker today should feel nice. Might be a tad humid to start off late morning, early afternoon, but we should see those numbers go down as we head through the day today as well. Temperatures pretty much regionally in the lower 80s. Few spots falling just shy of that 80-degree mark. 76 in Chicago, 79 in South Bend. We're in the mid to lower 80s in Indianapolis, expanding all the way down into Evansville. We are tracking on a nice stretch out ahead of us with lots of sunshine and comfortable temperatures. Eventually, we're factoring in more rain chances, and we'll time out when in the forecast here coming up.
All right, Steph, thanks so much. 9:03, new on Daybreak. 2 separate shootings leave 1 person dead in Indianapolis. The most recent happened around 1 this morning near 38th and Sherman on Cooper Square. Indianapolis police say they found a woman shot outside. No word yet on her condition or a potential suspect.
Police confirm 1 person is dead in a Sunday night shooting happened on the east side of Indianapolis on Michigan Street near Sherman. Police say the victim is male, but they're not saying if it's a man or someone younger. No word yet if investigators know who the shooter was or what led up to it. Also new on Daybreak, police now say a death earlier Sunday was a stabbing, not a shooting as first thought. It happened about 5 in the morning on Red Brook Court near 10th and Midhofer. Marion County Coroner's Office just released the name of the person found dead, 52-year-old Gene White Jr. They're not yet saying if they know who did it or why. They ask if you know anything that could help. Call IMPD or Crime Stoppers. IMPD says it has recorded 142 homicides so far this year.
An IMPD officer doctors thought may never speak again after being shot in the throat is now able to voice his thanks to police and the community. IMPD posted a video of the conversation with Officer Tommy Mangan on social media. Police say a suspect shot Mangan as he responded to a call in Fountain Square back in February. In the video, with his wife by his side, Mangan talked about his journey since the shooting.
It hasn't been easy. The load has seemed very heavy at times, but being able to have faith and have that load be lightened is, I believe, the only way that it is possible to make it through, not only make it through, but grow stronger through it.
IMPD says Mangan will have another surgery in September. You can watch that full conversation with Officer Mangan on our website right now. Just grab your phone and scan that QR code that's on your screen. Then click on this story in the As Seen on Wish TV section.
A new piece of art in Elwood is now honoring fallen officer Noah Chavez. He's the officer who was killed in a traffic stop last month. This weekend, a local restaurant unveiled a new mural that is dedicated in honor of the officer. It's on the side of Joiners near the police department. The artist says that he met Officer Chavez at the restaurant shortly before the shooting.
Just being able to know that Noah saw this mural and I talked to him in person and he stopped in front of the wall and he was able to view it and he loved it and he loved the flag and he loved this community, there's no better result that could have came out of this.
Chavez's family members say they are grateful for the mural and other displays of support that people have shown.
Your statewide news network covers Vigo County, where Indiana State University is mourning the death of 3 students, including a football player. A Twitter account for Caleb Van Hooser's former high school football team identified him as one of the victims. A tweet from East Lakota football, just north of Cincinnati, reads, "It is with heavy heart that we mourn the loss of Caleb Van Hooser, former Hawk great and Indiana State football player who was called home to heaven early this morning. We will never forget his contributions to our program." Police say 5 ISU students were in the car that crashed early yesterday morning. Officers think the car hit a tree off of State Road 42, then caught fire. Police say the driver and 2 passengers died at the scene. 2 other passengers were rescued and are being treated for serious injuries. The ISU women's soccer team decided to postpone its game against Northern Illinois University due to that crash. The team has not set a new date yet.
New on Daybreak, Governor Holcomb has met with the president of Taiwan. They spoke this morning. Holcomb's trip to the island is the 3rd recent high-profile trip to Taiwan by an American politician. The visits have further tightened tension with China, which claims Taiwan as its own territory and does not want the island conducting its own talks with foreign governments. After Taiwan, Holcomb heads to South Korea. His office did not reveal plans for the trip until he landed last night. Holcomb's office says the goal is to bolster economic ties, pointing out that several Taiwanese and South Korean companies make Indiana the base of their American operations. U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham may not have to testify before a special grand jury in Georgia after all. The panel is looking into the efforts to overturn the 2020 election. A federal appeals court yesterday temporarily blocked a lower court's order that would have forced Graham to testify tomorrow. Graham's attorneys argue that the Constitution's speech or debate clause should shield Graham from forced testimony. The appeals court wants the lower court judge to weigh in on that specific issue.
A partial hand recount in Kansas confirms voters' decision to keep existing abortion protections in place. Voters rejected a ballot measure earlier this month that would have removed protections from the Kansas Constitution and given state lawmakers the right to tighten abortion laws or ban them. The ballot measure failed by 165,000 votes. 9 of the 105 counties in the state recounted their votes. County officials say fewer than 100 votes changed. A longtime anti-abortion activist covered the cost of that recount. He says he plans to file a lawsuit today to seek a full statewide recall. New research shows the online market for abortion pills is booming as states move to tighten abortion laws. According to a Wall Street Journal investigation, many of the websites are registered overseas and are selling the medication without a prescription, which violates FDA rules. The Journal reports pills can sell for as much as $500. One foreign website says its sales have doubled since the overturning of Roe v. Wade. The unregulated market creates risks like fake or ineffective pills. Plus, people who buy the pills could also face criminal charges if they live in a state with abortion restrictions. New on Daybreak, in the monkeypox outbreak, the CDC now reports 3 cases among children in America. The most recent case is in New York. It's the state's first. The health department has not released the child's age or how they got infected. The CDC says a toddler in California got the disease, and so did an infant who is not from the United States. So far, no children in Indiana have tested positive for monkeypox. The CDC reports a total of 102 cases in Indiana so far.
New on Daybreak, several states are far too dry or far too wet this morning. The woes in the West are well known, with a dry spell said to be the worst in centuries. The Northeast is suddenly extremely parched, too, dealing with flash drought conditions. The U.S. Drought Monitor shows eastern Massachusetts, Connecticut, and all of Rhode Island in extreme drought. Here's a farmer in Rhode Island.
My fields right now are completely burnt, probably only about 4 or 5 inches tall when normally they're foot and a half.
Some states are dealing with flash flooding. Park rangers in Utah say they've gotten several reports of water sweeping hikers off their feet. They are still searching for one woman. Nearing 10 minutes after 9, still mid-60s in central Indiana.
Keeping the connection, why Wi-Fi is being installed at one of the highest points on Earth.
You're watching Wish TV, Indiana's only statewide TV news network.